One of the most notable and unchallenged achievements of Nehru is his foreign policy. Today, we are going to look at the glimpses of his foreign policy. Through his long tenure as PM, Nehru also served as foreign minister. He had visited many countries before independence and had genuinely internationalist perspective. In September 1946, Nehru spoke that US, USSR and China are the three countries which are most relevant to India. He said that India would be a friend of both US and USSR rather than become a camp follower of one power. A remarkable initiative in this regard was the Asian Relations Conference held in New Delhi in the last week of March 1947. 28 countries sent representatives. This included India's close neighbors like Afghanistan, Burma, Ceylon, Nepal, China, and Tibet. The still colonized nations of Southeast Asia such as Malaya, Indonesia, and Vietnam, 7 Asian republics of the Soviet Union, and Korea. A basic objective of Indian foreign policy, that of extending support to colonial and ex-colonial countries in their struggle against colonialism. It facilitated another objective of promoting the world peace. For Jawaharlal Nehru, foreign policy was a means of making India's presence felt in the world. He became the voice of India and all colonial nations. After independence, he personally supervised the creation of Indian Foreign Services, transferring to its cadre able officers of ICS and making fresh selections from the young. In this video, we are going to discuss the relations of India with the major powers in the world during the Nehru era. Let us first discuss the relations with United States of America. Nehru was critic of American capitalism. He criticized that the capitalism of American kind had led to the slavery and massive extremes of wealth and poverty. His first trip to United States took place in 1949, that is 2 years after he had assumed office as Prime Minister. During his visit, Nehru impressed the American press, but he had mixed relations with American statesmen. While American ambassador in India was quite impressed with Nehru's commitment to democracy, the Secretary of United States was not at all impressed by Nehru. After 1953, when Republicans were back in power after 20 years, US and India parted away more. India was further offended when US suggested that their trusted ally, Portugal, could keep its colony in Goa. Due to strategic position of Pakistan, US found it as an ally for the Cold War against Russia going on in Afghanistan. The US stand on Kashmir issue clearly indicated their tilt towards Pakistan. After the Korean conflict between US and China, the relations became sour. However, relations were slightly altered after the China's attack on India in 1962. Let us now discuss relations with Soviet Russia. Nehru first visited Russia in 1927. He was completely impressed by Soviets. He admired Soviet 5-year plan, though he wasn't attracted towards the armed revolution in Russia. After independence, relations with USSR were frosty, since they blessed Communist Party of India to overthrow the state. The insurrection failed. Later they tried to woo India from the western camp, sending 50,000 tons of wheat at once. Relations started improving after 1951, possibly because Russia admired India's efforts in mediating in the Korean conflict. The process was speeded up after Stalin's death in 1954. In 1955, Nehru visited Russia and received a grand welcome. At Moscow University, students left classes and gave him a great ovation. One of these students was Mikhail Gorbachev, who later recalled the impact made by Nehru and his moral politics. This visit was followed by equally popular visit of Russian supremos to India in the same year. From 1955, USSR gave full support to Indian position on Kashmir, and from 1956 used or threatened to use its veto in UN Security Council to stall resolutions unfavorable to India on Kashmir. When China-India relations started to deteriorate in 1959, Russia did not automatically side with its communist brother, but remained neutral, which itself was a great achievement at that time. The relations were strengthened by the military and technological partnership. Russia helped in setting up heavy industries in India. Let us now discuss Sino-Indian relations. India and China share vast borders, thousands of miles mostly unmarked and unsurveyed territory. In 1949, Communist Revolution took place in China. To indicate continuity, India retained their serving ambassador to Beijing. In October 1950, China invaded and annexed Tibet. India was still the first to recognize People's Republic of China and also advocated its entry to United Nations. US was tilting more towards Pakistan, so relations of India and China were reinforced by realpolitik. In wide-ranging agreement signed in April 1954, India recognized Tibet as being part of China. The joint declaration outlined 5 principles, famously known as Panchashil, which included mutual non-aggression and mutual respect for each other's territory. Towards end of 1954, Nehru visited China and received a grand welcome. After returning, he was convinced that China doesn't want war. 2 years later, Prime Minister of China visited India. India and China continued to be brothers in arms, citing the famous slogan, Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai. But on the ground, China was working to protect its strategic interests in Western region and India in the Eastern region. In 1959, Tibetan leader Dalai Lama sought refuge in India, and Sino-Indian relations started deteriorating. In 1962, China attacked the northeast India, deteriorating relations to the lowest point. Let us now discuss the relations with notorious neighbor, Pakistan. Right from the creation, Pakistan was hostile with India over the border issues. First, there was conflict with Kashmir's accession. The another conflict was over the water sharing of Indus River and its 5 tributaries flowing from India to Pakistan. United Nations tried to mediate in Kashmir conflict but didn't succeed due to US political interests. The conflict is still unresolved. The World Bank stepped in to play the role of peacemaker for the water sharing conflict. Knowing the recalcitrance of both sides, the bank offered a surgical solution. The waters of 3 rivers would go to Pakistan and the waters of the other 3 will go to India. This proposal was tabled in February 1954. However, it took another 6 years for the two sides to finally sign it. India-Pakistan relations are still strongly influenced by the domestic politics, and there are no significant improvements over a long period. Let us now quickly go through the glimpses of non-alignment. The basic principle of non-alignment was not to join either US or USSR camp. It was brainchild of Nehru. It helped in shaping domestic policies of country independent of foreign powers. It was the necessity of the time to make India self-reliant, and non-alignment was an inevitable part of it. Among the significant achievements of non-alignment is the international role India could play. India mediated between US and China to resolve the Korean conflict. In 1956, Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal and British started demanding the international control over it. India suggested a formula which included Egyptian control an advisory role of canal users, and settlements of disputes within UN charters. Indian proposal met with widespread approval including Egypt. Later, when Britain and France attacked Egypt, Nehru strongly condemned the action. The Soviet Union's intrusion in Hungary in October 1956 to crush a rebellion aimed at taking Hungary out of Soviet bloc was severely condemned by the UN, and it demanded withdrawal. However, Indian representative in UN V.K. Krishna Menon abstained from voting. This caused great resentment in West and exposed Indian government to charge of keeping double standard. It was a blot on the clean image of Indian non-alignment. A very major achievement of Indian foreign policy was its role in helping maintain the integrity and independence of Congo. After Congo gained independence in 1960, the civil war commenced, which also involved the foreign forces. Indian armed forces successfully brought the civil war to a close, restoring the central government's authority over the country by March 1963. It is notable that even decades after the independence, India has not deviated from the path of non-alignment laid down by Nehru. In our next video, we will discuss the planned economic roadmap of India. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and comment because discussion is solution. For more discussions, please subscribe our channel.